I fired all my team also. I manage over 1,000 humans over my career. Nowadays, I'm alone with my AIs and I'm quite very happy of their performance. They don't disappoint much.
Have you ever wondered how to make $1 million with social media?
I own Facebook ads agency. I own LinkedIn ads agency.
I'm Matt Bellman and this is $1 Million Creators. Me, Charles Cormier, a serial entrepreneur, master of 50 startups that launches up to 16 podcasts a day.
I think most humans are idiots compared to my brain. So it's like, why listen to them when I have something way better to offer mental wise and execution wise.
He also sends 30,000 fully automated emails per day using AI to acquire customers.
I'm in a spot where I know what works and what doesn't work. I just don't believe in the human concept anymore.
Charles is a serial entrepreneur who launched 50 startups, including a supplement company and a bunch of cash cow companies while living in Hong Kong for 10 years. He ran 3 Ironmans and does up to 16 podcast interviews a day, having interviewed more than 700 CEOs. Welcome, Charles, to the show. Take us with your passion to the next level.
Yeah, Hong Kong, it was 4 months and traveled all over the world, including Europe, where I believe you are. Interviewed also a bunch of founders because CEOs are a bit different personalities, somewhat similar. CEOs are like 10 to 100, right? While founders, me, I'm more of a founder. I'm 0 to 1. I just love starting the fire. So last 10 years, I've been working on the business that will build other businesses, right? So that's been like the enigma I've been trying to crack. And I'm getting very close to this through a cold emailing system. I use Apollo basically to email a bunch of different niches with different product offering. I'm starting at least 1 new campaign per day. So that's 30 a month. That's a lot. And I just listen to the data, I analyze and see what works, what doesn't. And that allows me to have a very particular position in this market in terms of market research. I'm in a spot where I know what works and what doesn't work. For example, an AI mastermind, let's say, or podcasting as a service for fintech. So I have all these micro product market fits and I just double down on them. I share the information with my clients that pay me a lot, but I also start my own startups and that's a really fun life.
Nice. Why do you do all of that actually? What's the mission behind it?
Yeah, so I've always been super ambitious. Everyone wants to shape the world with their own philosophies. I have various philosophies, but I'm mostly libertarian, and I believe that first I have some gifts, and I need to take advantage of that. And some other people do not have that and are pretty much stuck forever. Although I do believe anyone can change. And I think it's my duty to impact the world in a positive way. My big moonshots, once I'm done with the business that will create other businesses, and that will never be done, obviously it will be AIs in some kind, is to spend some time on longevity, again, not dying. And also, producing my own AGI, because I do believe that this will be a game changer for humanity. I think that, people should have their basic Maslow pyramid needs be taken care of. I believe in the UN, I believe it's 15 goals. So want to contribute to that. I just want not to necessarily alleviate suffering, because I do believe there's value in suffering, but basically, like also help the people be more free, right? We're seeing dictatorships nowadays. We're seeing wars. I believe all of that could be avoided, Isn't it like super primitive that we're still fighting for pieces of territories?
That makes sense. Just before we go into that, what did you do before all of that, like in your previous life?
My previous life is interesting because I never got that previous life. I stepped right into entrepreneurship, So I was in Hong Kong. Let's start from there as an exchange student, and 4 months there changed my life because I was away from home and discovered I could work from a laptop. Discovered I could still make money from a distance in a completely different time zone. And basically from there, came back to Canada. I was like, shit, I'm back again at square one at my parents' house. I need to leave the house. booked the cheapest ticket and bought the best looking Airbnb for the best price in Oaxaca, Mexico. Met my wife, decided to travel the world from there. But basically, long story short, I never had a job. Even back then, I was taking risk of working fully remote. But I had a mentor though that offered me a sales job starting at 200 phone calls a day. I became quickly a co-founder of his. So always had that in my genes. My dad's an entrepreneur. So at seven, I mean, I had odd jobs, right? Like before that, kids jobs, like a waiter at the restaurant. But I jumped straight in, because the equation was quite simple. This is gonna be fucking long, so why not start now? And I
That
won't I
makes
won't
sense.
have anyone telling me to do stuff. I think most humans are idiots compared to my brain. So it's like, why listen to them when I have something way better to offer mental wise and execution wise. So I also
Yeah.
out execute most humans. I'm a 3 times Ironman and ultra athlete, and I do the work.
Got it. So maybe let's talk about your offer today. So what's the offer? What's the value that a customer gets when they buy from you?
I have multiple companies. Most of them are productized services, agencies. Some people know them as this. So podcasting as a service. Mastermind as a service is quite popular as well. Cold email as a service is my main one. It's like the machine that has me keep on experimenting and so forth. So I have a couple of offers. I give out ICP list for free. That's my front end funnel because there's a rule in lead gen is to not to talk about lead gen. If I tell you, hey Matthias, I do lead gen, you're gonna be not another fucking lead gen agency that's not gonna do anything good for me. So my front end is like, hey, I'm gonna give you like a 1,000 contacts list for free, names, email, phone numbers, and then we can talk. It's showing my value first. And I've
Yeah.
A/B tested a bunch of these offers. Another very, very good front end offer, and it's not my actual offer, right? It's a front end offer, is a podcast like we're doing right now. So I invite people to pod. I invite my ICP to pods, people with a lot of money that I know that will obviously have money from my services. We start with
Yeah.
a podcast, and after we're done, I pitch them with podcasting as a service, cold email as a service, mastermind as a service, coaching. So I have a bunch of products.
Makes sense. All of that is online, right? Or any like offline things?
No, online. I
All
don't do
online, right?
offline since day one. I haven't done that yet.
Makes sense. What are the price points? Where does it start? Where does it end?
Yeah, nowadays it starts at 2K a month for coaching, and the done by Charles is 3.5K. I fired all my team also. I manage over 1,000 humans over my career, and nowadays I'm alone with my AIs, and I'm quite very happy of their performance. They don't disappoint much.
Got it. So I was about to ask you about the funnel, but you already shared it. So essentially, it's podcast and then cold outreach, and from there,
Yeah,
like you then
the
makes
technique
sense.
is cold outreach. Obviously, I mean it's so obvious, like, well, I mean, for me, Apollo is at $100 a month. They give you 10,000 contacts a month. So imagine what you can do with 10,000 contacts that you can call, you can email, you can LinkedIn outreach to them. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Anything you will tell me, like Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, remarketing, cold emails, the holy grail. And me, I've been geeking out on that for the past 3 years. I own call centers. I own Facebook ads agency. I own LinkedIn ads agency. I own pretty much everything in the full book. And yeah, like cold email always win from an ROI standpoint. And ROE,
And
that
how
is
do you
energy.
deliver? I mean, you're like an army of one, right? Like, how do you deliver the value? Like, what tools do you use?
Yeah, I'm correcting my dogs there. I'm taking care of them. They just went out, just had an operation. How do I do all of that solo dolo? Well, um, hmm, I'm extremely efficient when it comes to energy, right? Return on energy is probably one of my favorite metrics. Even when I get a lead, I do everything so that they dump me. AKA, like if we have a time in the calendar together, I need to make sure you're gonna show up and that you're actually gonna buy from me. So I have the luxury of really like refusing people in my calendar and so forth. So my calendar is always full. It's 15, 20 meetings a day. And that's real scarcity. I just don't have time. So that's one that makes me extremely efficient with like every single minute that I have. Been in the game for almost a decade now, so I'm pretty familiar with all the productivity methods. And then I have a bunch of AI and system to keep me basically free in my time. So I run AI masterminds, for example. It's other geeks like me that meet up on a monthly basis, and we just exchange tech stacks and AI tools,
Yeah.
And from there, I just get tools like Opus.pro to make my YouTube shorts, for example. I get my AI openers done on Ample Market, for example. I use a bunch of AI tools to make everything super efficient and to send probably 10,000 plus emails a day.
Yeah, crazy. When did you launch all of this engine? Like, what? Take me on a timeline.
Yeah, well, I always had these goals in the back of my mind. Me, everything considered equal, like I'm very late in my goals, in my moonshots. And that goal, I mean, I've been in lead gen for the past, 7, 8 years. So I always had this machine in my mind. Back in days, it was the call center to have like AI do some calls, like Google Duplex. But then I figured out, and then I was like, oh, let's do LinkedIn outreach. LinkedIn, it stops the connection at like 50, 100 a day. And then I discovered cold email and was like, okay, doesn't seem to be any limits to that. Obviously, there's going to be some limits. We've heard some news yesterday that, Google's going to try to block even more the spam and the scams, quote unquote, which is not cold email, but still will affect the cold email game. And I was like, holy moly, this just scales forever. And then I have some other databases, right? So I have way more than 10,000 new contacts a month. So then it becomes about quality. What do you offer at what price point? So this machine, I started it, probably 4 or 5 years ago, officially. And I've witnessed the scale only like 1 to 2 years ago. And I was like, okay, this is like my own little product market fit laboratory.
Got it. And then maybe that's a great segue to talk about success. How many paying customers do you have today?
For the coaching business, I have around 10 done by Charles. I also have probably like 5 in there. The thing is that I killed like my full human service agency 3 months ago. So I went from probably 30K MRR on the agency side of things to near zero, if you want. And then it's back again at 30K. But with no humans, so I basically pay myself like 300, 500K a year just for that side of the business, right? Because I have other businesses.
Yeah, yeah. And a year ago, it was smaller, same size.
Oh, it was way bigger because things got to shit pretty quick. So we had a rough start this year, like with the agency. My humans were not performing anymore. Actually, their growth rate back in days was probably, I don't know, 1% a month. It was very low, Plus, I had to invest my time and energy, motivate them, teach them everything. And I was like, okay, this is not going to scale. This is also a rough economic climate, Plus, I need to invest my tokens in other spaces, right? Like podcasting as a service, mastermind as a service, because strictly cold email by itself, it does scale, but I do think that Google is gonna strike eventually, and it's not gonna be as efficient as it is right now. Anyway, so it was pretty bad. I was like, fuck it, let's close the whole thing. Let's fire all the humans. It was a very good decision in hindsight, because these humans, I mean, they were just not performing. It wasn't my fault necessarily. I'm not the best of a manager, but it was like personal issue, and it's not just them. It's like all humans. I just don't believe in the human concept anymore. The 9 to 5, basically.
Intense. Okay. I think I will double click on that later. Just like to quickly finish the section on success is like, so done by Charles Coaching, what you do right now, 30K a month. Is that your main gig? That's 100% of your revenue, or is there anything
No,
else?
there's the mastermind as well. There's the podcast, which are around same figures, and uh, I mean, it's success, quote unquote, financial success. The type of things that this machine offers me as well is just like being smarter and then scaled. Because even at a guy that makes 10 million a year, like does it scale? Like does it fit his long-term vision and so forth? And I believe I'm in a really good spot for the machine that will create other businesses, right? My goal with most of these agencies to recruit CEOs, and they could start as COOs, managing these businesses to, let's call it, I can self-manage these businesses up to like 50K MRR. And the figure shows that, yeah, this is going to be the case. Then I find a CEO, I outsource to them, they manage it, and then there's this ecosystem that makes a lot of sense together. I want to SaaSify all these businesses, then AIify these businesses and create that ecosystem, right, that can run by itself. So gives me a lot of knowledge, puts me in a good position, not only financially, but emotionally speaking, spiritually speaking, all the knowledge that I gain from that. And yeah, that gives me a lot of freedom. Basically, I feel quite free
Makes
nowadays.
sense. Makes sense. I would like to double click a bit more on the lead gen aspect that we spoke about in the beginning. So you're not really, let's say, paying a lot of importance on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, or whatever. You're just like essentially grabbing databases of emails and doing cold outreach. Is that correct?
Yes, but other channel. Well, for example, I post a lot on my LinkedIn, right? I think I have like 13K followers there, 100K CEO and founder views per month. It's still not my focus. My focus is always IQ, and market intelligence. And I think I'm really advanced when it comes to this with all the data that I get, and I constantly try to refine my brain by posting. When I post, the goal is not to get like as much followers, it's just to get like the data and to solidify, to consolidate neurons in my brain. And I think I'm quite successful at that. Twitter, I mean, I have like 300 followers there, and I have like 10K tweets, yeah, 15K. I'm talking by myself. And the goal here is to just come back in time. Once I'm going to be really successful, trillions would be the number, less than 10 years. And just observe like how I was thinking back then. Because another of my moonshot is, like Neuralinking myself. And I do think that I'm going to get there in less than 15. And yet I think things are going to be pretty exponential back then. I don't think also wealth will even be part of the game much back then. Once you're like connected, you know everything, and you can make money on command, which arguably I already have that skill. Wherever you put me, I'll just like I'll in-depth myself to have a computer. I'll ask people for money at first. The experiment, if you'd start with zero, I'd get myself a computer, I'd get myself an Apollo, and in like 15 days, I'd be profitable, and I have that skill, money on command skill.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand. Hey, and regarding the audience that you target or you have as well, is that the US mainly? Is that Europe? Is like
US mainly, but I have clients all over the world. One thing my background, quote unquote, if you want, the only studies that matter, quote unquote, that I studied international business at uni. And from day one, I've been international. And the why is pretty simple. It's like, hey, can I make money while I sleep? So different time zone, for example, buy from me when I'm sleeping. And when it's 9 p.m. here, it's 9 a.m. In Australia. And I just deal with these clients and make money with them at pretty much all times of the day.
Makes sense. Is there any channel where you think like there's really big potential going forward for the future?
Channels, so cold email, humongous, right? Like if people are not on that, get in there. LinkedIn, grossly and vastly underestimated. X is also super underestimated. I think has a lot of potential. I haven't looked in the growth of that, and I'd limit this to that. You know, TikTok, I think it's low IQ people making $300 a year. Instagram, superficiality, LA sort of people there. But yeah, so these three channels, I would highly double click on them.
Makes sense. Let's talk about expenditures real quick. You said like team of one, so that makes you very capital efficient. Where do you spend your money? Is there any tools or anything?
Yeah, I have some specific spending philosophy in life, you know, like I spend a lot on myself and my health. You know, I biohack tons. That would be like my main expense, oddly enough. We're in this house here, so yeah, that is another expense. Um, I wasn't a proponent of cars, you know, but yeah, like I bike and run a lot and all of these things, but cars can be fun for your childhood self, you know. If you had some dreams to have a G64 AMG, then I mean, go for it. Um, about to have that. From the business aspect, it's very low. Oddly enough, it's probably like 1K a month. All my softwares included: Apollo, Ample Market, Contact Out, SendGrid, Namecheap Hosting. I buy tons of domains as well. I'm like a domain collector, um, as any good internet nerd would. And yeah, knowledge. I read a lot of books and audiobooks, I guess, but I'm limiting that because I'm interviewing 15 CEOs a day, and that's way better than
Yeah,
any audiobooks out there. So that would be the
makes sense.
the core of it. And yeah, technology, of course, always have the best Macs on checking the M3 chips right now. Microphone, Shure microphone, AirPods are great. Aura
Yeah.
Ring and like the Apple Watch as an athlete. It's yeah, stuff like that.
Let's talk about the future. Can you get your business up to 10x by yourself?
No, 100%. 10x will be very easy. Yeah, it would be done in ease, you know, like especially with AIs, the agents are coming, you know, we tried it with GPTs on open AIs. And I mean, yeah, this is super scalable, you know. To me, what I would need to do right now is just like buy 10 times more accounts. Now, can I handle it by myself? No. Do I want to hire humans to manage that? No. Will I create AIs to manage my bell box and create these new campaigns? Yes. This is coming, you know. And there's part laziness to that. There's part no urgency sentiment, but that's what I would need to do to 10x my business. Yeah.
What's the best strategy to win really big in the next 12 months?
Buying 10 times more accounts. It's easy as
And with
that.
buying accounts, you mean like,
Once you have
what do you mean by
the
buying accounts?
huh?
What do you mean by buying accounts?
Apollo, $100 a month, you buy 10 times more, you know. And the easy way would be hiring a human, but that does not scale. You know, that human will eventually go. So yeah, it is that easy because they give you 10,000 contacts a month, you know. Um, Obviously refining the core algorithm of like how you write emails and what offer you put out there. But I mean, that's done by sending more and more emails. But yeah, it's quite fun, this product market fit game, because you constantly test out stuff. And for example, my AI mastermind is popping right now. I do mastermind as a service as well. That is popping, so there's strong interest. Podcasting as a service. So for most people listening to this, you know, they're starting. I named a couple of product market fits today. If you don't have a business idea, then maybe go after them. And the cool thing with these business ideas is that in the back end, they're market research ideas. So every time you get on a mastermind call, you get ideas of more product market fits, which you can test out, you know. So I would go with that rather than selling, I don't know, like a fintech for insurance brokers, you know, like it's very niche. You might get financial success, but that will be it. You'll have your exit in 5 to 10 years, and then what? You'll try another very niched out thing, you know? I would encourage people to have a global plan, an ecosystem that scale forever. If there's some shit businesses in that ecosystem, you can sell them, right? But yeah, I would encourage people to build a global empire like that rather than just hyper
Yeah.
niching down into something, getting some funding, and being dependent on a VC that doesn't know shit.
What's the biggest thing that is holding you back?
My mind, like everyone, I guess. My mind is taints more than 99.999% of humans, but first, I'm accomplished. I have everything I want in life: the house, the wife, the dogs. I mean, I live in the mountains here, so my backyard is like running paradise. As an ultra runner, and I bike as well. I have my luxury gym. You here, I have everything that I need. I have views all over the place, so quite very happy here. I think I focused a lot on IQ in the last couple of months, and I think I need to get back to emotions a little bit. And I feel like I built like this fortress, and I hire multiple coaches. I forgot to mention that in my expenses. So I guess that's what holding me back, quote unquote. From a financial side, yes, I want to 10x. That's always attractive. Money is good. Capitalism with a good back end is a good thing. So what's holding me back? Probably focus. Because I have a lot of meetings on a daily basis. 15. I do like getting very early. Yesterday I woke up at 3. I have a bunch of my clients doing that, and it's like, okay, yeah, 3 a.m. club, let's do it. Um, but yeah, a bit more focus, blocking some time, and yeah, focusing on that ecosystem, and then seeing if that $1 trillion goals even make sense.
Love
Do
it.
you think it makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's of course to good to shoot big, right? Because if you shoot small, you will not end up anywhere. So it's good to shoot big. Let's move over to a section I call the famous five. What's your favorite business book?
First, I stopped reading books some time ago. Nowadays, my routine when I go to bed, I read Wikipedia's. Okay, so for example, right now I'm reading the 7 Days War of Israel that just annihilated Egypt, Syria, and all their neighbors like never before. It's really inspiring, actually. It's like holy shit, these guys are good. Um, and yeah, that is one. The last audiobook that I listened, because for this I have time, I just put it on my iWatch and I go to like run or something, with Elon Musk book. I'm an Elon fan. Elon is the closest you'll get to my personality, entrepreneur wise. Um, and yeah, it's odd to compare yourself to Elon. It sounds new, but yeah.
I think that's my next question. What's the favorite person you are studying?
Um, well, Elon, I studied extensively, but everyone studies Elon, like. So, okay, let's take for books. I'll just shoot a couple, right, for the audience. I mean, Tools of Titans was quite good. It's not just business, but it's pretty much everything in there. I'll pull out my Audible. Well, I think people that I study, Brian Johnson, he doesn't want to die. That I think that's quite inspiring. Peter Attia in the same niche. Peter Attia's book Outlive. Um, I listen to some Anthony DeMello nowadays, which is a great meditation spiritual book. Robert Greene, and that's a classic, The Laws of Human Nature. Oh, a good book that I finished also after Elon, Going Infinite, by Michael Lewis. That is Sam Bankman-Fried biography. So for all of you SBF haters out there, go read that book. Me, I don't hate SBF. First, I didn't have any money in FTX, but I think SBF's a genius. Basically, he's just not fit for this society, which is really controversial. Alex Ormolzi, nah. I mean, he has good content on YouTube, but his book wasn't that good. And let's finish off in force. Rick Rubin's The Creative Act. That's a hell of a book. And I'm gonna really, really listen to that. Do you know Rick Rubin?
No.
So he's this music guru, okay, and he's the guy behind Def Jam. Def Jam had the best artists out there, some of the best artists, Beastie Boys and all of that. And yeah, he's basically super aware. He's like very zen, and his skill is listening to music and criticizing it, sort of. Like this is what you need. It doesn't play any instrument. So you need to Google Rick Rubin. You'll see what I'm talking about. He looks like
We'll
Jesus,
check it out.
and he's a billionaire.
I will check it out. What's your favorite social media channel for inspiration?
I don't actually. I don't get much inspired either by Twitter or by LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I get my data off my podcast, so that would be my favorite one.
Favorite online tool for building your company?
Apollo.
Biggest thing on your mind right now?
And I would say, ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude. I would say that these are great sparring partners. The biggest thing on my mind right now, I don't have much on my mind today. Like I'm starting to drink my coffee. Testosterone will kick in soon, and I'll be chasing something like a pit bull. But yeah, maybe like I said, my emotions, they're like solidified because I had my wedding couple of weeks ago, and I had to hustle quite hard for that. Granted that I rebuilt my business from scratch at the start of this year. I had to.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I built a wall, so I think the priority is like demolishing that wall, really getting in flow with my true self, getting back in a meditation mindset, yoga-ish mindset, and more love, man, more love, because I've been pissed at humans as well, manage 1,000 of them, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's still a valid scientific conclusion for anyone hiring people out there. It doesn't scale, point, but that doesn't mean I need to trash talk humans,
Yeah, I understand.
I know you do.
Moving over to
Any
personal,
founders that understand that point, they just don't want to say it out loud.
like when you speak to people, what they like least in their company, wherever they're working, they say the people.
Yeah.
When you also ask them what they like most in their company, it's also the people. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. I mean, maybe not for you, but for many, it's like, I mean, you have a wife now, right? So there is something to it.
Yeah, I like working with some of my humans, but it's fake, like they're there for money. They're not there for fun. Me, I love humans. I love talking to them. That's why I have this podcast, but is it real fun? They laugh mostly because they know they're gonna get paid, for sure.
Yeah.
And you're not. And humans lie a lot, So I need to accept all that, because my values, I don't lie. I don't like lying. I believe in speaking the truth and doing what you say. So what I like the most in my business, I'm not a liar, it's cash. And also, if I ask you, if you remove cash from your business, just ask yourself that question, and you'll get quickly to the thing that you like the most in your business, not human, it's cash. It's cash, it's not humans. If you really dig down, right? Now, we have funds with humans, we love getting results, but I just feel that's part of the back end.
Yeah, let's move over to personal. It's almost finished. How many hours do you sleep on average?
So I used to biohack a lot back in the days and really value that. As you age, you need less sleep. I'm 30 now, and back in the days it was 9 in average. Nowadays it's more like 6 or 7, and I still feel top shape. Just that, talking to 15 CEOs a day is quite demanding, and sometimes I have some light amnesia.
Yep. What's the situation? Married, single, or kids? I guess married, no kids.
Yeah, no kids, 4 dogs. We're about to have kids in less than 2. What about you?
2 kids, no dogs, married.
Nice. Since how long the kids?
Philly is 2 years old and Louis is 9 months old.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's
lots of work.
It's like crazy at night. It's
you
crazy.
have a nanny?
It's difficult. Like we had multiple over the years. It's not easy to find a good nanny.
I'll hire 2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, in Mexico is maybe also different, but I don't know. Your age, like 30, right? Like we all have that already. Maybe let's wrap it up. Here's the question, final one. Also, is good advice for our audience. If you could go back in time and have a conversation with your 20-year-old self, what's the best piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Don't take any advice from me. Yeah, that's what I would tell him, because at first it's like it's defying the laws of space time, so you can't really do that. But yeah, and second, he knows better than I do, because he's in the moment. And memory is this tricky thing. You think you know how your 20-year-old self were, but you're not really feeling the way you were. If I would have to do the classic experiment and go back in time and tell him something to do or to focus on, I'd say don't hire humans, start building systems that will scale, and life will give you a version of what you want, not the exact version of what you pictured.
Got it. Great, everyone. This is Charles. Charles runs a ton of businesses, in particular podcasting as a service, cold email as a service, masterminds. He's on 30K a month on his core business and scaling this up nicely. He is automating. So he's an army of one, but with very effective systems in place to scale up by 10x, which he thinks is totally possible. His favorite tool is Apollo. He does cold outreach predominantly to drive leads to his businesses. And he is a complete Elon fan and reads a ton of audiobooks in his spare time. He is freshly married, has no kids yet, but soon, has 4 dogs, sleeps 6.5 hours. And thank you so much, Charles, for sharing your passion and taking us to the next level.
My pleasure.
That was Charles Cormier. You learned why you should build fully automated systems instead of managing teams. So how can you unlock the next level in your business?